Hey guys, Jay here with Word of Advice TV, and in this video I'll be showing you how to install a MRCOOL DIY mini split step by step. In fact, we're going to be installing two of them. Now, this video is going to be a little bit different than all the other videos on YouTube because these mini splits are going to be installed in a cafe shop. And this cafe shop happens to be in a strip mall. So we have neighbors on our left, we have neighbors on our right, and we can't go out to the back. So really our only option is to go up on the roof. And just a little background information on what's going on here. I have a friend here in Hawaii. His name is TJ. Him and his wife are opening up a cafe shop here in Kona on Big Island. It's going to be the most popular cafe shop on the island, so if you're ever here, make sure to stop by. The name of this place will be Arise Kona Bakery and Cafe. And when you're here, make sure to ask them to see the mini split just for the sentimental value. This big shop that they're renovating into a cafe actually already has 4 rooftop units, but they consume a ton of energy, so they're probably going to only use 2 of them. And to supplement, they wanted to put in a couple of mini splits just for the smaller rooms. For example, this room that I'm standing in, this is going to be like a kitchen prep area, and so that the workers in here don't get too hot, they want to put one head here and then one head upstairs. We can take a look at that a little bit later, the upstairs room. That's going to be like an office room up there. So when TJ told me that he's looking for a couple of mini splits, I reached out to MRCOOL and they agreed to send me a couple of mini splits as long as I film a video of me installing them. And by the way, my friend TJ happens to be a licensed electrician, so he's going to be doing all the electrical work, the disconnect and running the wires and all of that. Just so you know, the 12K units are 120 volts. And before we go ahead and jump into the install, let me first show you what the plan is, where we plan to put everything, just so you can see the before and after and the whole process of it, the planning and the implementation. Of course, all plans are subject to change, but so far, this is the plan. So for one air handler, this guy right over here, we're gonna put him right up on top. We're gonna route the pipes to the left and through the ceiling. As for the drain, since this is a gravity drain, we can't go up with the drain hose. So we're gonna route the drain hose to the left with a constant slope downwards, down over there to that wall, and then to the right from there. And the reason we're doing that is because we have these 2 giant commercial ovens and they actually use steam, so there's a drain in the back. So we're gonna hook up to the drain from these ovens. That's gonna be pretty convenient. Now, in the instructions and all the videos out there, what people do is pull this line set out and into the wall. But in our case, since we can't do that, there's a neighbor behind here. It looks like there's a knockout right over here. It doesn't say anything about it in the manual, but that's what it looks like. So we're gonna cut this out and we're gonna just route the line set right out from here. And on this wall in the upstairs room, we're gonna put the second air handler, probably right over there. And just like the unit downstairs, we plan to route the refrigerant line set to the left and through the roof, and the drain to the right and down. As for the condenser units that are supposed to go on the roof, in this room over here, we have a really convenient skylight. And it's large enough for those units. So what we're gonna do is probably bring a scaffold here, a couple of ladders, and we're gonna bring out the mini splits, the condenser units, right through this skylight onto the roof. So that's pretty nice since we're not going to have to deal with climbing the roof from the side. And remember those rooftop units that I mentioned? The ductwork from them, it just goes straight down, the return and the supply. So there's one of them right there on the ceiling. There was another one in the room that we just came from. That one is from the neighbor. Here's unit number 2. And there's unit number 3. They plan to get this insulated ceiling all painted white, and actually all the renovations hopefully will be done within a month or 2. But anyway, that's it for the little walkthrough. Let's begin with the installation. Okay, so we're back at the units, and one of them we already completely unboxed, and the second set I left in the boxes so you can see what's in every single box and how it looks like when I take this box off, because the way they package it is really pretty cool. So let's start with the air handler and see what's inside. And here is everything in the air handler box. If you want to know the specific names of all this stuff, refer to your owner's manual. Isn't that cool? How the box just slides right out like that? And this is everything that comes in the big box. One thing that came damaged is this collar right here, or this sleeve, the one that you put through the wall. It was slightly cracked, and I mean, it's not a big deal. It's not a lot of damage, just a little bit. But I noticed that the other one was cracked in the same way and pretty much in the same spot as well. So I don't know, maybe the way they package it or the place they put this could be a little bit better because both of them were damaged on both units. On the positive side though, they do seem like they're both still workable, so we're still gonna use them. Another thing I noticed is that one of the caps is missing. It might be in the box somewhere. I looked through it, through all the packaging, and I couldn't find it. So it probably isn't. I mean, this is likely not that big of a deal. This is just a protective cap to make sure that no dust or any dirt gets in here. So we just gotta make sure that it's nice and clean before we tighten these connections. As you can see, the caps are not on there very tight. See how loose they are? So maybe one of them just kind of came apart during shipment. But like I said, no big deal. One more thing I do want to point out though, that is really cool about this line set, is that it comes pre-charged. So this thing is actually sealed up with refrigerant already inside it, all 25 feet of this line set. Which means that there is no brazing that needs to be done, no cutting pipes, no vacuuming, no pressure testing, no flares, nothing, none of that good stuff. This is completely pre-charged. All you have to do is hook up the connections and you're good to go, which I think is pretty darn amazing. That's really cool how they were able to pull that off. Whoever designed this did a really good job. I believe they're the only manufacturers on the market that do this, that have a DIY system like this, where they have line sets that are pre-charged. We also got 2 sets of line guard covers. That's these gutter looking things. So they're pretty slick. They cover up the pipes and make things look a little nicer. We're not exactly sure how we're gonna use them. We might use some of them inside, just so it looks nicer on the inside. And if we have enough, we're gonna use them on the roof as well. But we'll just see how it goes. And lastly, we also got a box of hardware. And inside this box, we had 2 adjustable wrenches, the 3.5-inch bit to cut a hole through the wall for the refrigerant line set and the drain and everything else. And nice, it comes with a little tool bag included, which, as you can see, is quite a bit smaller than mine, so this is nice. I think I might actually use this. This is gonna be like my secondary little bag. By the way, along with the purchase of a mini split, they also offer a free t-shirt or a hat that you can get for free online. But anyway, let's get back to the actual install. The first thing I'm gonna do is install this air handler right over here. Then using a stud finder, let's find us some studs, the wooden kind. Well guys, I found out that these studs are not 16 inches apart. They're 22 inches apart. Okay, so that changes the plan slightly because the bracket itself is only 18 inches long. See where the arrows are? Those are like the optimal spots for the screws. There's one here, one here, one here, and one here. But since we have our studs so far apart, what I'm gonna do is put one long screw right into the middle, into the stud, and then I'm gonna use 4 anchors on the sides and just put the screws in that they provided. And that should keep it on there nice and good. This here is the template of this bracket right over here. It just makes life a little easier. We can work with this first, find out where we wanna hang the unit, and then mark our holes, take this template off, and then actually put the bracket on. To make this a smooth process, I'm gonna just put a piece of tape on either side of this template to keep it up there. And actually, before I put this template on, we wanna measure our 6 inches from the ceiling, because it has to be at least 6 inches from the ceiling, because it sucks air in from the top. They do want some area up on top. And actually, there should be clearance all the way around the unit. And for the exact dimensions, just refer to the manual. Okay, so I made a mark where the stud is, and we're gonna probably go about 6.5 inches. That's gonna be the top of our unit. Now we're ready to put our template on. There's our mark for where the top should be. And I'm gonna try to line that up with this center, which lines up right over here, so that makes it pretty easy. That's gonna be our center, like that. So I'm gonna put one piece of tape on, then take out my level. That looks pretty good. And now I'm gonna just drill a hole right over here, right in the center, and that's where our big screw is gonna be that's gonna go into the stud. And at this point, I don't think I'm gonna need the template anymore. I'm gonna take this off and then take the bracket off of the unit, and we're gonna go ahead and work with the bracket from now on. The bracket is held onto the back of the unit with just one screw in the center. So I'm gonna go ahead and take that off. Not using the drill. There you go. Here is our bracket. These two tabs up on top is what the unit will hook onto. Center screw goes in first. Make sure we're still leveled. Next, I'm gonna drill the 4 holes for the anchors. Now we take our center screw back out. Pound all the anchors in. Okay, I quickly ran into a dumb little problem. My anchors are not going in. And that's because of this paneling that went on the drywall. The anchors that they provide, they have these wings. And because of these wings, I will destroy this anchor faster than I'm gonna be able to pound it in, which is what happened with this guy over here. So I'm gonna switch to some anchors without wings, and everything should go good from there, I hope. I wanna put in all the screws before I tighten them down so I can one more time check the level, and then I can finish mounting this bracket completely. And just for good measure, I'm gonna put another screw into the stud. It's definitely not gonna go anywhere now. And now onto the air handler. There's been a slight change of plan. You know how I said that the refrigerant lines are gonna go to the left and then the drain is gonna go to the right? We realized that no matter how we put it, either in the middle of the ceiling or route it down and then to the side, it's gonna look really ugly like that because we're gonna have refrigerant lines going out the left side and then the drain line going to the right. It's gonna look really goofy. So there was a change of plans. What we're gonna do now is route everything, the line set and the drain, to the left, and we're gonna send the refrigerant line sets up and we're gonna send the drain down. And we got a really interesting idea of what to do with that drain line once we get it to the floor. Stay tuned to see that. And since we're exiting from the side of the unit instead of going into the wall, I'm gonna get this little piece cut out. Cutting it with a knife is a little bit tedious, but I don't really want to risk putting a grinder or a multi-tool to this. Just wow. That's what happens when you cut and talk at the same time. All right, and the knockout is out. But still, even with the knife, I accidentally slipped and scratched it a little bit. Not the end of the world, but kind of sucks. Don't do that. If you're going to be using a knife, just go nice and easy and go upwards instead of down. And to make life easier, when we're going to be putting the connections together, I'm going to take this little covering piece off. So here are the line set and the drain. They will all come out from here. And that's pretty much it for the air handler. I'm going to route this cord out this way as well. Just kind of let it hang. And until we're ready to hook up the connections, the line set, I'm going to go ahead and just hang it on the wall and leave it there for the time being. If you see that the brackets are sticking out from the bottom of the unit, then readjust and lower it just a little bit to cover them up. Wiggle the unit around a little bit to make sure that it's on there secure, and you're good to go. You know what? I'm going to be going home for now, and I don't think I'll be back for a couple of days to complete this install because they have to do some other stuff, and there's probably going to be some sanding going on, some painting and stuff, and I don't feel quite comfortable no matter where we hide this. There's going to be a lot of dust everywhere. So I'm going to go ahead and just seal this up like this so no crap gets in there. Good. And from this you can see that my sense of fashion is not very good. I thought the ceilings were going to be white, but they're actually this nice little cozy brownish color. It's the walls that are going to be white. So once this is all done, it's going to look really nice. By the way, there's been a little bit of a plan adjustment. I thought this was just a steel lip right here, but it's actually a big steel beam. This whole piece is all steel. So no, we're not going to put the air handler there. That's going to be kind of annoying. So what we're going to do instead is put it on this wall. It's not drywalled yet. But after we put the drywall on, we'll put the air handler probably in the middle of the room right here. And right over here behind the wall, this is going to be a mechanical room here. And behind the wall, we do have an AC unit right here. This is one of the rooftop units. But I believe the plan is to extend the ductwork down into the kitchen where those big commercial ovens are. So this duct is probably gonna end up going downstairs. So I got up on the roof now to show you where we're gonna put those mini split condenser units to. And the first thing I found was this condensate line unplugged. I'll go ahead and put that back in. I don't think that's that big of a deal because it's on the roof, which goes right to the gutter, but it'd probably be better to have that back in one piece. But anyway, here are the rooftop units. There's one, number 2 is over there. This is just an exhaust fan straight ahead. There's number 3, number 4, and that far one is the neighbor. The skylight through which we hope to bring the condenser units out for the mini splits is right over here. So the plan is to take this out, bring the condenser units out to the roof, and we're likely gonna put them somewhere over here. Just give me number 1, just give me number 2. And by the way, it seems like we're not gonna be the first ones doing this, because if we look on this roof, you can see that there's a mini split standing on the roof right over there, and right over there. Also, if we look to our left, there are 2 more standing there too. In fact, let's take just a little bit of a closer look at them. As you can see, they're a little bit slanted or tilted with the slope of the roof. So it looks like they didn't really try leveling them. I mean, the tilt isn't that bad, so I suppose they just didn't want to deal with it and left it as is. But I think they did do a better job than these guys over here, because let's walk over there and I'll show you why. Whoever installed this mounted it straight to the metal roof. I didn't even notice that the unit was running, but it's actually on. This thing is so quiet, I didn't even realize it was on until I saw the fan spinning inside. That's pretty amazing how quiet these things are nowadays. So this unit is nice and leveled, but for the leveling, they just used a piece of wood, which I guess is okay, but with time, I suppose this thing is gonna start to rot. But it'll probably take many years, so they weren't too worried about it, it looks like. The disconnect was mounted right to the unit. It's a little bit flimsy. I think TJ is going to do a better job than this, but I guess we'll see, right? But it is on there, it does have a disconnect, and it looks like these 2 units are going to the same building because they are connected together right over there. Okay, and that's it for the roof tour for now. So we're back downstairs, and we're gonna start with the downstairs room first, where I hung that air handler. So the refrigerant lines are gonna go here, and then they're gonna go up, along with that communication cable, the power cable. By the way, the unit downstairs, the air handler, it gets its power from the upstairs unit. That's why the cord from it has to run from here all the way up to the roof. So the provided bit that they give us is 3.5 inches. That's a gigantic hole. So we're not going to use that. At first we were planning on using the 2.5 inch, but that was a little big too. It might be sticking out from that little gutter thing, the line set cover. So we decided to go with the 1.25 inch. And I'm just going to drill 2 holes side by side, and that should be enough to get us the cord through and both of the refrigerant lines. Now I went upstairs to the upstairs room. So this is where the hole that we just drilled is going to come out from. We're going to do a little pilot hole first and see if the holes are lining up or if we're going to have to offset them just a little bit.
There it goes. Okay, so we got this bit that fell through, and we have a light in there.
You can barely see it, but there's the light shining in the tunnel. So that's where we're headed.
So Mr. J got the hole right there. Yeah, we are ready to go up into the roof. The plan was to go all the way in the corner, but we have to offset it because we have electrical conduits. And we want to go right through next to them, not to offset anything. So we're just gonna go step off a little bit, 2 inches off the wall, and it's gonna go right there.
Beautiful. Covers it right up. And now we're onto the ceiling. We're gonna pull this insulation off. Gonna measure the line guard, see where it goes on the metal roof. And then I'm going to just drill a small pilot hole to the top, and we're going to drill the big hole from the top of the roof so we can see better what's going on. While I was drilling the pilot hole, TJ already took off the skylight and we're ready to go out the roof. So this is where the pilot hole came out, and because we don't want to drill a big hole where the ribs are on the metal roof, we're actually going to offset it by about 6 inches and go here instead, because it's going to be a lot easier to work on a flat surface. And we're going to use the big bit this time. We're going to want a bigger hole over here. Okay, so we're going to start pulling the refrigerant line sets down from the roof to here to the first unit. But before we do that, I'm going to take the communication cable from the air handler downstairs, and we're going to route that to the roof first. I think it'll be easier that way. So I'm going to give this end to TJ that's waiting for me upstairs. He's going to grab it, and then from there we're going to go to the roof. So at about this point, we got lucky that we were using the 12K units. They were not that heavy, so it wasn't too hard to get them up there. So we're gonna start with the line set for the downstairs unit first, and the distance from there to here is about all 25 feet. So I'm gonna go ahead and unwrap this whole entire line set and just make it all fairly straight. When you're unwrapping it, just do it nice and slow. And everything should go good. And while I was unwinding the line set, TJ right here started working on the condenser unit mounting. By the way, this is TJ, my electrician friend. This is his coffee shop, so whenever you visit Big Island, don't forget to come here.
Aloha.
And we're also gonna put these little rubber pads underneath the mounting legs on the Minisplit condenser unit. They're just like little noise cancellation pads, and they're just nice to put in between the metal and the unit itself. While TJ is looking for the bolts to bolt this unit down, I'm gonna start taping this whole entire line set with that vinyl tape that they provide. This vinyl tape is not sticky at all, so I'm gonna go ahead and tape the start of it so it doesn't come undone as I'm doing this with just some simple black electrical tape.
And of course what we're gonna do is put it on the front of this rail, so when the rain goes in here, it doesn't leak under. When the rain goes in, you don't want to put it too much so it doesn't get puddles of water in here. Just enough to get the water around it. So now what we're gonna use spring nuts. Slide it right under there, so what it does, it holds the nut. It's a little complicated here. Ooh, it's gonna get messy. Press this down and put it in place. It's done. Put it down. Okay, good.
And to prevent the line set and the insulation from getting all ripped up, we're going to use one of the collars over here, right on this roof. I think this is a perfect spot for it. So we're going to route the lines in there and then go through that first ceiling and just kind of go from there. The offset is a little bit more than we thought it was going to be, so we're going to cut this collar off a little bit more. Okay, TJ, you there? Oh, there he is. Okay, so we're going to put the collar in. And we're gonna start feeding the line set to TJ, which is downstairs. Okay, so we got most of the line set in, and now TJ is giving me the wire, the communication cable. Perfect, looks like we're gonna have enough of the cable too. Good deal. This is what we have so far. We have the line set in here. We're also going to go through this floor and hook it up to the downstairs unit. The line set was coming out really tough because of the offset. We're basically coming in from here, making a turn here, and then turning again, which makes it really difficult. So what I'm going to do, since there's going to be a little electrical box here anyway, I'm going to just go ahead and cut this whole corner out. We're going to take this electrical cord out too,
so it's not in the way while we're doing the line set, and then we'll route it back up. I got it? Okay, that's much better. I think we have enough, bro. We got enough. I kind of wish this vinyl tape was adhesive, because as you can see, as we were pulling it through the floor and through the ceiling, it kind of just slides off, even though I made sure to overlap it pretty good. It's going to be in that line cover gutter thing anyway, so should be good. Remember that fitting that I taped up with the plastic? Just to make sure, I'm going to blow it out as well before we connect it to the air handler. Okay, so now we're ready to hook up the connections at the air handler. Let's take the protective caps off. And using the 2 provided adjustable wrenches, let's tighten these up nice and snug. I have the air handler stacked on top of the MRCOOL boxes. I'm making sure they're not wobbling too much. That way I have a nice little pedestal to work on before I put the unit up there. You want to start the threads by hand. Make sure they're going in before you put the adjustable wrenches on. If it's going in there tightly, if you just wiggle the fittings as you're twisting it, that helps sometimes a little bit. Right there, see how it goes every single time I wiggle it and move it back and forth? This thing keeps popping out. Of course, you want the big line to go to the big line, small line to go to a small line. And the caps, I put these back on for now, the caps match colors as well. And by the way, the line set itself is not directional, so either end can go to either side. Okay, I think I got that in like halfway, and from here on I'll just go with the wrenches. And you can kind of feel it when you're done. It just stops spinning. You want it really nice and snug, but you don't want to go beast mode on it either. There you go. So that one's done. And later on we can go over it with a soap and bubble solution, make sure that we don't have any leaks. So now all that's left is to just connect this line, and then we can mount the air handler to the wall. And now we got the connections nice and secured, they're nice and snug. So I'm going to put those black sound dampening pads on later on, after we spray this down and make sure there's no leaks. So for now we're done with that. We also have to put in the drain, so I'm just going to plug that in. Okay, so what we're going to do now is put the air handler back on, and as I'm putting this thing up, temporarily, because I have to take it back off to put on those pads and then to check for leaks. But for now, to see how long our line set needs to be and how much of it is going in the wall, we'll put this back up, and I have TJ upstairs. He's going to be pulling on the line set to pull it up. TJ, you ready? Yeah. Okay, pull. Okay, hold on. Okay guys, TJ came to assist because we need a little nice 90-degree bend right there. Well, there you go, that's looking good. That's looking very good. Okay. Perfect, perfect. And then we're gonna put those gutters on here to cover it up. And now we're going through the roof with the remaining little piece. Nice and slow, nice and slow. While I was downstairs doing that air handler, TJ already set up the second condenser unit. And it's already almost pretty much completely set up. And this coil, we have just enough of it where we can't coil it, the line set. So we're gonna have to just do it like this. We might put that gutter opening from the line cover right over here. Seal it up good. But for now, I don't know, maybe we'll decide to do something else with it. But for now, I'm gonna just connect these guys up like this. Doesn't look the most amazing, but it'll get the job done.
So we're getting ready to put the electrical disconnect on the unit. Empty space behind this wall, so there's nothing that we can penetrate. So this is pretty good on this side. We're gonna put electrical conduit right through it, feed it back to the unit, and we're gonna feed it from this one to the next unit as well. So that's the plan.
While TJ is figuring out the electrical stuff, which I will film or add in a little bit later, I'm going to go ahead and open up these valves to let the refrigerant out from the condenser unit and into the line set. So everything is secure, everything is connected. I want to open this up so that I can go check for leaks. Using the provided Allen wrench, I put that into the valve and just slowly go counterclockwise. the top valve first. And you want to completely open the valve until the Allen wrench stops spinning. Once it stops spinning, you know that you're fully open. And then go ahead and do the same thing with the bottom valve. I got the valve covers back on, and now for the leak test, spray the connections down with soapy water. And if we're seeing any bubbles, that means we do have a little leak. If I was seeing bubbles, I would just try to tighten it down a little more, and most of the time that's all that is needed to fix that leak. And we are not seeing any bubbles. That is very good. Now we just need to do the same thing to the downstairs air handler, and this unit will be set to go. And there's no bubbles. We're doing good. Now that we know there's no leaks, I'm gonna put these pads on, and that should be it. We should be done after that. These two insulation pieces come with each unit, so I'm gonna put 2 of them right here, and then 2 on the other one, just to cover up the remainder of the exposed line. And I'm probably gonna go get some vinyl tape and just tape this part up too, so it looks nice. But for now, so they stay in place, we'll just put some black electrical tape.
What we're gonna do, we're gonna put a washer right there so we can feed our wires right through it. So this is a liquid conduit, weatherproof, and we're gonna cut it to the length. We're gonna put a conduit right in there.
While TJ is fishing out the power supply line to hook up into this little box, I'm gonna go ahead and hook up these communication wires. And first of all, I'm gonna get this knockout out. To do so, stick our little cord in there, and hook our wires up. They are all labeled 1, 2, 3, so you really can't go wrong here, and ground goes to ground. And I'm just helping TJ fish this power line out. We got a hot, a neutral, and a ground. Actually, we got 4 wires, and he'll probably explain to us why.
Now we're back on the roof. Jay was helping us get these wires in. Main thing number 1, before you do anything, make sure the breaker is off. And make sure this is not a homeowner really job. I would highly recommend hiring an electrician with a licensed electrician. I am a licensed electrician, so I'm helping out Jay here, hooking this up. And basically you only need a green, ground, neutral, and a hot for the unit. But since we're gonna come in with the power for this unit, and we're gonna tie another unit. So we have 2 hots and 1 neutral, which is the neutral can handle 2 circuits. That's what we're doing here. So that's the reason why we have 4 wires. So what we're doing, this is a liquid tied connector. First you put this lock nut right over the tubing, and then you slide it over with the wires, and you can see that there's a kind of like a teeth right here. You want, just be careful, don't break them. You slide it in there, and then you put it over it, you tied it, and that's what makes it liquid tied and waterproof. Actually, with this box, we wanted to put the connector first and then screw it down. So change your plan a little bit. Feed it in there. Make sure the wires are out. And we're gonna put it in through the threads on the box. Thank you, Jay. We're gonna tighten down. So the units supposedly they have a disconnect, and people always used to put in big disconnects with a shut off. For smaller units like this, 20 amp, especially 110, you don't need to have a big one. This is it for consider as a disconnect. So basically you put in a switch in, and right here there's the same thing, shut off, on and off.
Before I put this little bracket back on and secure everything in place, all these wires, just wanted to show you. So basically we got the hot, a neutral, and a ground coming in from this little box. That comes in from the back, because we drilled a hole in there, comes into the unit, comes around, and comes into this terminal bus over here. And that's it. That's all there is to the wiring.
Ground is very important to ground the metal. Anything you put with the metal has to be grounded.
According to TJ, this rubber part needs to be under the bracket. So this is what we ended up doing. We kind of crammed the wires up there and then pinched this black cable in with the bracket.
I love them, man.
That is such a cool disconnect. Okay, we still have some stuff to tidy up in that corner, but this is pretty much all done. The power is on, the refrigerant is out, so let's try pressing the on button and see if it fires up. Okay guys, so it's working wonderfully, it's cooling nicely, it's super quiet, we couldn't even tell that it's on, but just as expected, we are having an issue with the drain, because we just zip tied it to see if it was working. So water was pooling up right here. Actually, you can kind of see it. Look at that. It was not draining properly, and it was starting to drip from here, just after running it for a little bit. So, what we're gonna do is take out the plug from here, take out the drain, and put it over here. There's a plug on one side, and then the drain port on the other. So we're gonna swap them. That's gonna be pretty hard to film because the line set's already hooked up. So I'm gonna have TJ hold it and I'm gonna swap them. So I'm gonna go show you on the other air handler what I'm gonna be doing, and we're not gonna film this part because it's gonna be really hard to film. So I'll just show you an example of what we're gonna do on that one. That way we're gonna try to fix that draining problem so we no longer have this water standing in the line and backing up into the unit. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is pull these covers off. They're all just on tabs that you snap out and just slide out. There's one more up on top that goes in here. I'll just take it out too so it's not in the way. And there's gonna also be one on this side that we'll also take out. And by the way, here's the plug. So we're actually gonna take this plug out. It's a big long plug, and put it on this side over here. So first let's take the drain hose out. And I don't know if you can see it, but I'm going to take these curved needle nose pliers and I'm going to press on that clip to take out this hose. And here's the drain hose after I took it out. Here's the little clip. Honestly, I'm not sure if it's like this by design or if I just broke it, but the other side is missing, or maybe it's meant to be like that because there's a little tab there. Maybe it hooks onto it. I couldn't really exactly see how it was on there, but I'll try my best to put it on the same way when I put it back. On the other unit, remember how I cut out the hole? So what I'm going to do is, where I took out the plug, I'm going to plug the drain hose in here, and it's just going to go straight out. That way, nothing is going to be in the way. It's going to go straight out, and then we're going to try to angle it or slope it downwards all the way to the corner of the room, and hopefully we won't have any draining issues after that. And of course, when we're done transferring the drain hose, I'm going to take the plug that we took out from the other side and put it into this one. There really is no good way to push it in. So what I like to do with these plugs is take a rounded off Allen wrench, put it in here, and just push it in all the way. I did this many times and it does not puncture it. As I was putting the clip back on, I figured out how it works. Actually, let me take it back out just so I can show you. But basically, see how this clip is slanted right here? What I'm doing is sliding this thing onto the tab on the bottom of the drain port. So there's the tab right here. And I'm basically sliding this clip right over it, and that holds it in place, which I think is a really slick design. I like that. And guys, remember that interesting drain idea for the downstairs unit? It's gonna go left and then straight down and into this hole that TJ is about to make. And now that TJ's done drilling the hole, we're gonna put a bunch of water in there to make sure that it's all draining in there and it's not backing up. And about 6 water bottles later, nothing is backing up, it's draining in there nice and good. Okay, so this part is all done. We moved the drain from the right side to the left side. We tried sloping it downwards, as you can see. Just sloping down, 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 down. And we're gonna route it into that hole and see how well it drains. We tried using zip ties at first, but they were making little saggy spots in the drain line. So instead of the zip ties, we simply used electrical tape, because we're gonna be putting the line guard cover over this anyway, and then drilling out a little hole for the drain to come out of. And now we're starting on the second air handler. We moved from the steel beam to this side right here. It was already drywalled up to here, so we could put the air handler on. So just the same as last time, at least 6 inches from the top. I'm gonna go ahead and do 8. Make a mark right here, and let's get started. Okay, so we want to put this unit right over here, but there's no studs on this whole left side of the bracket. So TJ went to get some wood, and we're gonna put a stud in over there. So it's kind of nice that we don't have drywall on that side, so we can totally aim it wherever we want. This time, all our screws went into studs, so this is nice and secure, it's leveled, we're good to proceed. And since with this one, we're going to be doing it the proper way, where the line set is going out through the wall. I was supposed to mark where the circle is going to be, but I forgot to do that. So all I did was put the template back on to match up with the holes and the screws, basically to match up with the bracket in the back. And I'm going to simply notch a hole. And that is going to be where we're going to drill out our big hole. This part's going to be very easy. All we have is drywall here. There's no wood, no bricks, no nothing. I mean, we're just going through an inside wall. And then we're going to angle this a little bit downwards for the drain. And go ahead and drill our hole. There's no drywall on this side yet. So for now, I'm just going to leave it like this. Just for whoever is interested, doing it this way, where you go out the wall in the back, is way easier than doing it the way we did it downstairs. Everything lines up real nice, it clips on super easy, there's no little gaps all around. This way is really good, so if you have an option to do it that way or that way, this way is better. By the way guys, if your drill bit ever falls out, like it did for us on the roof, there's a way to put it back, and if you have any big pieces stuck on the inside of it, an easy way to take it out is to just take this bit apart. You take this outer ring off. That releases these little bolts. You unscrew the whole thing, and it just comes apart like that. And then you can use that same drill bit, or any drill bit, to just get whatever is stuck in there out. Next up, you put the drill bit back in, where you have the Allen set screw. And you tighten it down real good. There you go. Problem solved. Now you put it all back together. When you have it almost all the way in, then you can start putting these pins in. You got to make sure that these pins line up with the holes on the drill bit. There you go. You got to put those in all the way first. And then tighten it down.
Oh, right there.
So the plan is to take this line set, go to the right, and then see where we drilled that hole, where the light is shining. That's where we're going to put it in. And then we're going to take it and route it on that lip, on the steel beam lip on the bottom. Bring it all the way over, and then out the ceiling. We're going to attempt to put it into the same hole. That 3.5-inch hole is pretty big, so we might be able to just fit it all into the same hole, which would be pretty nice. But we'll see how it goes. Okay, we have a slight change of plan. What we're going to do now with the line set is we're going to come in through there as the original plan, but we're going to turn right over here. And that's why all this insulation has been pulled back, because the line set is going to turn and go up in here and up into the roof. So we went downstairs and measured how much line set we need, and it was like something like 22 feet. So I'm just gonna go ahead and uncoil this one completely as well. And while I'm doing this and doing the vinyl tape, TJ is gonna finish up the electrical, going from this unit to this unit, and maybe my wife can film him so you can see what's going on there. Because this is pretty boring.
So we have a PVC box this time. No ground needed for this one. It's already pre-drilled on the unit. It's gonna sit right here. Meantime, we're gonna put this whip together. And I like this connectors better than this kind, just because it sits more tighter, but just my preference. So we're gonna put it in right here, and you just screw it down in there all the way until it reaches the weather seal, and it's nice and tight right there. Perfect. And we take this lock nut out. We don't need it at all, because we have a threaded insert in there, and we need to actually penetrate it. We need to break that seal. You can use a screwdriver or just simply a screw gun right here, and take that out. We can just leave it the way it is in there. It's not going to be in the way. And with this screw connector, you just twist the box around it until it reaches the seal again. And now we'll put the box back in. Done on this end. Gonna stretch this out and connect to this guy right here.
What TJ did here is he ran 2 hot wires on 2 different circuits, and he said up to 2 circuits can run on 1 neutral. So they're sharing a neutral, but there's 2 hot wires. One is going to go to this one, 115 volts, and then the other hot wire, he pigtailed it in here, and that's going to go out this whip, this conduit, and go into the next unit. So far what we have here is a bunch of this weatherproofing stuff, this tar or whatever it is. TJ applied that, and then we're gonna put this gutter thing on, the line cover. That's coming on next, but before we do that, we're gonna use the provided sealing clay to fill up this hole. The downstairs air handler is exiting into a mechanical room, so it doesn't have to be too pretty. We decided that this would be better used, this piece, on the roof, just to make sure that everything goes in good and none of our line sets are rubbing against any of this metal stuff. So that's what I'm doing here. All right, we're moving on. So now what I'm gonna do is start feeding this line set down to TJ, and he's gonna be catching it down there. And for now, I'm just gonna leave the drain line in a bundle, but the plan is to bring this down and to that oven, the oven drain, the commercial oven drain. That's what we were gonna do originally with the downstairs unit, but we're gonna end up doing that with the upstairs unit instead. And it should be good. So we ran out of the white vinyl tape. Instead of that, just on this roof section right here, I'm gonna use this black all-weather tape instead. It should do a good job. And I'm gonna go ahead and tape this cord together with this bundle. Okay, and this is the final result. We got both units in with the line guards. Everything's taped up in vinyl. Everything's already running and working. The electrical's done. You got these cute little disconnects. We had just enough line set. Each line set was 25 feet. They come in either 16 or 25 feet. We got them mounted to these channel struts. Nice and level. Look at that 22 seer. These things are super quiet, very energy efficient. Everything's looking good. We're pretty happy with this result. By the way, I forgot to mention that they also have coupler kits. So if you need more than 25 feet, you can get another line set and connect them together. So if you have some application that would need that, you can do so. This part kind of feels like opening a new phone. You know, unboxing a phone or some laptop or something. You take the sticker off. So nice. It's a little scuffed up, but I think this is just dirt. We should be able to just wipe this down. Okay. There's just two more things I wanted to show you. First of all, the filters do need to get cleaned every month or two. Well, depending on your use. If you're using it a lot, then monthly. If you're not using it as often, then you can do it every other month. But there's these tabs on the bottom of the filters. You pull up and out. And both of these filters come out the same way. Just pull it out all the way. And this filter has a little channel inside. They also provide air freshener strips that you could put in here. And they smell like rubber. They don't smell good at all. So I'm assuming you have to put your own essential oils or whatever good smelling stuff on here and then put this in. But in order not to lose them, I'm just going to go ahead and slide these in right away. And then if they want to put some kind of air freshener in here, they can take them out and do so. So you clean this up. You can either vacuum it, brush it, or wash it, let it dry, and put it back into the filter. There's these channels that it follows. So really it's kind of hard to put it in the wrong way. You just kind of slide it in the same exact way you took it out. Also, if you want to control your unit from your phone, you do have to put this smart USB in. And that's literally just like a little USB stick. It comes with a little owner's manual to help set everything up, to make sure it's working with Alexa or Google or whatever you're using. And that goes in on the inside of the cover right over here. I'm not sure which direction it is, this way or this way, but I guess trial and error, right? Okay, that went in good, so I must be right. I now know for sure which way. See where these little grips are? This is facing away from the cover. So you're not putting it in this way. There's no grips on this side. You're doing it with the grips facing you or away from the cover. I also want to note that each unit does come with a remote holder. This is not permanent, don't worry. I just put it here to show you what it looks like. A remote holder where you can put your remote from your unit inside of. And just a little bit of a nuisance. That happens a lot. And it's not a big deal. I mean, if it was really bothering you, you can trim this little edge off. Or when you're pulling the remote off, you simply have to pull it forward just a little bit and nothing flies off. So, not a big deal. So there's the remote and a little holder for it. Every unit also comes with a thermostat that you can either hang on Velcro. They also give you some screws if you just want to put it on the wall. And you can hook it up to your Bluetooth on your phone. But this thing is independent. You don't need to hook up any Wi-Fi or Bluetooth to it in order for it to work. It's like a TV remote. So it has infrared. This thing can control the unit just by itself. It does not need anything except the battery power. Next up, we're installing the line guard covers. We already started this right here, so we're putting on the base of it first, screwing it in. This piece has already been cut. There's a 90-degree right there. I cut out a little section in the base right over here. That's where the drain line is going to come out. And then we're going to secure it to the corner of the walls here and go straight down. The way these gutter contraptions work is they snap on right over here. The cover snaps on and then you can slide it, which is very convenient. The easiest way to cut these line guards is to measure the length that you need and then mark it off on either end and tape it all the way around. Then take a grinder and the tape will lead you where to cut it all the way around. And as you can see, we put the two pieces together, the base and the cover, and we cut it as one piece. That way we don't have to cut them individually. It makes life a lot easier. We have a really stubborn line set right here, it keeps going to the left, and that is not good with the cover of the line guard. So we're gonna put this bracket on there to hold it in place. And then we're simply gonna put the cover over that and all should be good. And here is the finished result. They may or may not paint this gutter, but I think it's looking pretty good. This is how the drain worked out. I like it. It worked out well. It goes down there, we put 2 brackets over here, and none in the middle, just so that they're not an eyesore when all of this is done. If you're wondering what these little holes are for, we are going to have little outlets over here. The only thing that I don't really like is how this turned out, but that's okay. I mean, it's a kitchen area. If this was a house or living room, maybe not, but in the house it would go backwards anyway. Over here we got a little bit of a crack there that the gutter didn't cover up. I think some white silicone is all that's needed there, and that's going to look nice. And then perhaps some putty or something else to cover this stuff up. Or if you have a good suggestion, let me know. But yeah, overall, I'm pretty satisfied. It's looking good. The line covers are all done now, and this is how they turned out. The top piece is a little bit angled because our refrigerant line set right there up on top is offset, and it was really hard to bend it. We didn't want to risk it, so we just simply angled this top piece, the line guard cover, just a little bit. But if you look at it from the front, you can't really tell. And we're going to put the insulation back there. I don't know if they're going to paint the ceiling or not, paint the walls, paint this gutter too, along with the walls, and I think it's going to look real nice.
Well guys, and that is actually it for this video. I know I might have missed some stuff, maybe I did something wrong or I forgot to film something, but between floor 1, 2, and the roof, going back and forth, that just happens. But if you have any corrections, suggestions, or just want to share your thoughts on what you just saw, please let us know in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching this video all the way till the end. Don't forget to mash that like button on the way out, and I'll see you next time. And if you're still here and not in the comment section below, let me tell you a story about 2 rednecks. So Redneck 1 asks Redneck 2, "Hey John, I hear so much about positive thinking lately. Could you tell me what that is?" And John thinks about it and says, "Well, let's put it this way. You're walking down a flight of many steps. And on the very first step, you trip and you go tumbling all the way down to the bottom. And as you're laying there with a broken leg and 3 missing teeth, you're thinking to yourself, wow, it's amazing how fast I went down those stairs." But rednecks aside, let me tell you my own story. One time I fell off a 30-foot ladder. That was really scary. The only way I survived is because when that happened, I was on the bottom rung.